Alrighty, that was a fairly quick turnaround to start the top four. We are back once again. As I discussed last night, the two matches for the top four have been set in stone, and we are seeing the first of those two, which will be Legendary Sky-Byte Crash Bash Gnaw deck, which I have dubbed Ocean Terrors because all of them are undersea based. I mean, if you look at Crash Bash's art, he is floating around in the water. And then he is going up against King Naga's Optimus Prime and Friends list. A very retro deck, if I must say, I can speak. Mainly because OPBL plus 2 additional characters was a deck that I used for a little bit in competitive. I know it wasn't, actually, I'm trying to think here. Oh yeah, I think there was a deck that made use of OPBL, I can speak, plus Wave 2 Hot Rod, Wave 1 Flame War, and that was one of the best decks for the longest time in the metagame, and Naga has brought it back, but instead of Flame War and Hot Rod, it is Flame War and Night Racer, and using those 2 extra stars, he has taken Night Racer and Optimus's strat, Optimus is, of course, being from the Arc. So we are just waiting now for Naga to hop in the call. In the meantime, I can actually tell you that I have access to both players' deck lists. This was supposed to happen at the start of the top 8, but some things just occurred that prevented that from happening. But now we have them, we have the lists in full, and I am able to kind of give some insight into what cards in a player's deck could potentially be decent in a specific situation, what secret actions could be set, what a player might need in order to pull something off, stuff like that. And it should definitely help make for a better broadcast overall. In the meantime, we are still waiting for Naga to show up, so might as well talk about what happened in these last two, in the players' matches in the top 8. So, Legendary faced off against a 5-wide military patrol build that featured Brawl as the 5th character, and also I should mention, all the replays from this event's Top Cut are going to be on this channel. There is a playlist somewhere. I forgot to put that in the description. Maybe it'll be there after the fact. So Legendary had to go up against a 5-wide military patrol build, and it was a pretty interesting match. Legendary ended up siding into Blast Off in Game 2 to help deal with Bomb Shock, and in Game 1, Sky-Byte just demolished things. So Legendary won that match 2-0, and then in Naga's top 8 match, we saw OPBL taking on Soundwave, and it was a pretty good back and forth. It was a 2-1 match, and OPBL and friends ended up taking that one due to some well-timed tripwires, so that was a hell of a match to stream, and that was the first one we actually streamed. So, again, you can watch all of them on this channel. They will be somewhere in a playlist. Anyways, in the meantime, it looks like we are starting to get set up here, so I'll go ahead and switch over to the camera, and I actually need to make sure that the victory indicators are set to go. Yes, they are. Again, just like the other matches, every time a player wins a match, an Autobot symbol will appear on the right side of the screen closest to their name. It's a best of 3, so once a player has won 2 games, they win the match, and whoever wins this will advance to the final to either take on Sky Bull or Sky Scepter. We do not know what happened there yet because the match has not happened. So we're just seeing the players start to shuffle up, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, Naga's deck does seem to be... we just had a technical issue. Gotta love modern technology sometimes. Must have been a misclick if I had to take a wild guess. So, Naga's deck is running a decent variety of secret actions that could mess up Legendary. We will see, though. Heroic Resolve is going to be the one to watch, though, because if Prime stays alive until late game and Legendary only has 1 character remaining, a well-timed Heroic Resolve could swing the game in Naga's favor. Meanwhile, we're looking to see how quickly Naga can deal with Sky-Byte. He gets that +3 defense, +3 health very quickly, and we haven't seen much of what lies beyond in this format. So it'll be crucial for Naga to eliminate Sky-Byte as quickly as possible if he wants to take a Game 1, or just any game, really, but Game 1, getting ahead here and putting Legendary on the back foot will be crucial. So we're just seeing pile shuffles happening right now, and I'm just looking through the deck list if there's anything interesting here. Beast Mode in Legendary's deck. This was a tech that we saw in the previous game. Now, if you're not familiar with what Beast Mode is, let me go ahead and grab my binder and tell you. So, Beast Mode is a arc action that is really the first bit of Beast support, or at least one of two of the first bits of Beast support. I can speak. And if I can flip to it in my binder here, I'm just trying to get past all the wave 4 and wave 5 crap. I'm not sure who was going first there, because I am currently trying to tell you what Beast Mode does. So Beast Mode is a action that reads, choose one of your characters that's a Predacon or Beast. When it attacks an enemy in bot or body mode this turn, the attacking character gets bold 4 until end of battle. Now, we really didn't see this in Legendary's last match, because the Battle Patrol does not flip, really. So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes into play this match. So Legendary is going first, sending in Crash Bash first after flipping Gnaw into I'm not sure who. Looks to be going in for 5-7 because of Crash Bash's ability. Going into Flame War. Flame War will defend for 3, take 4. Moving over to Naga's turn as I desperately try to put my binder away. Flipping OPBL seems like a pretty standard move at this point, and we wait for his first turn card to come down. And I also now just realized I could have looked up what Beast Mode does on Teletran. I am still getting used to this and having the deck list right in front of me. So we're waiting for Naga to see. He's checking his scrap pile. I'm not too sure for what exactly. He only gets 1 card per turn, and also I'm not sure why the scrap pile, because he can't flip Prime back unless he has like a escape route in hand or something. Does his deck even play escape route? Let's see. So the only flip cards in his deck is Assault Formation, so he wouldn't be able to flip Prime with any battle cards, but he does drop a Matrix onto Prime and sends Night Racer in for 4 Pierce 1 into Crash Bash's 3, so Crash Bash will take the first damage on Legendary side. We do have a Bashing Shield down on the flips. Dropping an Opportune Offensive for a Bashing Shield, or not the Bashing Shield, there was something else there. I'm not sure what that was, but dropping the Opportune Offensive makes sense because you'll just be able to do this, flip Gnaw, grab the offensive back. Now, I'm checking to see what other cards in Legendary's deck could have had a green icon aside from the Bashing Shield. There was an Escape Route, Belligerence doesn't have one. Opportune Offensiving Sky-Byte makes sense. Dropping a Power Punch. Okay, Night Racer is about to get lit up. Putting the top 3 cards of the deck underneath Sky-Byte here. And sending Sky-Byte in for 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 Pierce 5. So there is 11 from the flips plus the plus 3 from Opportune Offensive. So Night Racer will take Alive on 1, the Bayformers server curse never rests. So Night Racer defends for 4 there. Yep, that math adds up. Moving back over to Naga's turn here, we do see a Reflex Circuits down. Dropping a Sec Check for the Reflex Circuits. Absolutely the correct move here. I'm pretty sure all of Legendary's characters are melee here. Sky-Byte is melee in alt mode, Gnaw is melee in both modes, and Crash Bash is melee in both modes, albeit it really doesn't matter for bot mode for Crash Bash, because you generally keep him in alt mode. I think I have yet to see Crash Bash flip in a tournament match, but I have seen him do it a couple of times in casual matches. So back over to Naga's turn here, as we see him perusing the scrap pile. Maybe flipping Prime here, but not sure. We see a secret action come down. Looking at the board right now, there are no weapons on Legendary side of the field, so setting a Sab Arms would be a preemptive maneuver, if anything. Probably not a Heroic Resolve, because there's really no point to playing that card right now. If I had to guess what it is probably a Hold the Line. Dropping an Armed Hovercraft, so that will put a damage across the board on Legendary's field. So that secret action that Naga has set is probably a Hold the Line or a Turnabout Snare, if I had to take a wild guess. If it was a Hold the Line, though, it would prevent Flame War from being KO'd by Gnaw, but it will not prevent Night Racer, unfortunately, because she is alive on 1. Going in for 3 Pierce 1 into Sky-Byte, so he'll take 2. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, I forgot, +1/+1, or +1 Pierce 1 from the Matrix, so Flame War was going in for 4 Pierce 2. That is my mistake for not looking at the board. Moving back over to Legendary's turn here. Draw for turn, flipping not... Oh, no, flipping Sky-Byte instead to play a card from underneath him. Let's see what he gets off this one. Precision Fire, calling alt mode, so that will kill... Wait, actually, nope, wait a minute. Nope. Scratch that, calling bot mode, so Sky-Byte, Night Racer, or not right, Night Racer, Flame War, and Optimus will call, or will each take a damage. Assault Formation will move that damage from Sky-Byte over to Night Racer, which will KO her, and then Gnaw will get bowled 2 this turn. No specialists on Legendary side of the field. So Legendary takes that first KO. Legendary will drop a Vampark onto Gnaw, so that is just a little extra boost. Okay, it was the Hold the Line set, so Night Racer cannot be KO'd here. Going in for 6 no Pierce into Flame War. Taking 2, so Night Racer... Again, Night Racer couldn't have been KO'd with the Hold the Line since Gnaw is 5 stars, but it just... takes 2 damage, so a little unfortunate for Legendary there. I bet he was hoping for a little bit more, but such is the nature of this game sometimes. So now, as Legendary just said, now he prays. Moving over to Naga's turn. Prime does have his flip available, but I'm not too sure if he wants to do that because, again, that bot mode is still a powerful ability. Seeing what he's thinking about here. If I had to take a wild guess as to what his maneuver is, he probably sends into Sky-Byte in order to capitalize on the fact that he currently has 0 defense in bot mode, I believe. Dropping a Reflex Circuits onto Prime, so now he has +1 defense against Legendary's entire team aside from Sky-Byte in bot mode. Moving a damage from Prime via the Assault Formation onto Gnaw, trying to cut off his ability to recover opportune offensives. Flipping Flame War to alt mode, flipping her back to bot mode, so Prime now has bold 1, sending Prime into, I believe he said Sky-Byte, I'm not 100% sure though. So going in for, oh wait, we got the action play here. So we have a choice of actions, either counter-espionage, scouting mission, or assault formation. Assault formation really wouldn't do anything since Flame War would just flip and not be able to give an effective bold 1. Counter-espionage could be an interesting choice to dump an action out of Legendary's hand that Naga might suspect he has. Scouting mission is probably the most likely play here, damaging Prime to draw 2. And now we're seeing a check of Legendary Scrap Pile to look for any potential belligerences or secret actions. Looking for turnabout snares, it looks like. Legendary is playing 3 snares, so it is live here. Nope, wait, there's all 3 in the KO, or all 3 in the scrap. Opportune Offensive is there as well. There is 1 belligerence. Legendary is playing 3 Opportune Offensive and 2 belligerence. Also checking for Beast Mode, it looks like. There is 1 Beast Mode in the scrap, so Belligerence or Beast Mode might be the call off a counter-espionage here. Also now checking for an Angle Moss Surge. Okay. So there's 1 Angle Moss Surge, so if we see that counter-espionage come down, it's either going to be Angle Moss Surge, Beast Mode, or Belligerence based on what the search targets were. And if I had to pick one, I would probably say Belligerence is the biggest threat. Yep, calling Belligerence, and let's see if Legendary has one in hand. Bashing Shield, Tsunami Blaster, Angle Moss. So I think Tsunami Blaster was that green that Legendary picked up earlier, where the Bashing Shield was also down. So no Belligerence in hand. So Gnaw is KO'd here, so I think Prime was going in for 10 Pierce 2 into Gnaw. I don't think Legendary flipped any blues, so Gnaw was dead. That would explain why Naga moved the damage onto Gnaw. So we're even here at 1 KO apiece. Moving back over to Legendary's turn. Just waiting to see what happens. Flipping Sky-Byte back to alt mode here. And then Bashing Shield onto Crash Bash. Gets rid of the Reflex Circuits. That is pretty significant here. Question is whether he sends Crash Bash or Sky-Byte in here. I'd assume Crash Bash to try to... Actually, wait a minute. I'm not sure who he sends in here. Angle Moss Surge down on Crash Bash. That telegraphs he's going in, and there we go. I'm guessing probably into Flame War just to get another character off the board. So that is 4, 8, 9, 10, 12 going into Flame War, and that will KO her. Naga is down to 1 character remaining. Prime is going to have to do some serious heavy lifting here if Naga wants to take this game 1. Moving back over to Naga's turn, he does have that Prime flip available if he needs an action for whatever reason. Which he does have a pretty large suite available. I can speak. 23 total in his deck. I'm not sure exactly which ones he has in his scrap, though, so we will just have to wait and see if he does choose to flip Prime, what he goes after. Albeit Legendary is looking to be in a pretty good position right now, up by 1 character with both power hitters still on the field, while Naga is down to his major character only. No support pieces on the field for him. Choosing to flip Prime, he still has 8 attack, grabs a Turnabout Snare. That is probably as a way to mitigate Sky-Byte. Well, actually, it is a way to mitigate Sky-Byte. He will have +3 defense thanks to his Stratagem and his attack trigger. So it won't mitigate it as much, but it will mitigate it some. Sending Prime into Crash Bash, going in for 8, or, hold on. Going in for 9. Oh, he played a Sturdy Javelin to replace the Armed Hovercraft. 9 Pierce 1, Crash Bash takes 6. He is sitting at 9 out of his 13 health because he has Briscoe as his head, our Lord and Savior. Moving back over to Legendary's turn, we have a Tsunami Blaster coming down onto Sky-Byte and a Master of Metallicato. This could be a very painful swing if it weren't... Oh, wait, it's a Tetranite. Hold on. So that Turnabout may have just been a bluff in order to try and get Legendary to play some other types of cards instead of like a Grenade Launcher or something. So Sky-Byte will have Bold 4, I believe, after this. So he'll be going in for 7, 8, Bolt. So 8 with Bold 4, and whatever he gets off of Master of Metallicato as well, because I think Sky-Byte currently has 5 cards underneath him, and that bonus from the strat does cap out at +1/+1. So looks to be the attack is 8, 9, 10, 11, actually, 14 Pierce whatever, 14 Pierce whatever -4. 14 into 8, taking 6. So that was a pretty significant swing on Prime, but remember, he does have that, I believe, +3 health boost from his strat. Yep, +3 health, so he is sitting at 17 total, not 14. Moving back over to Naga's turn, we do have a flip of Prime here after a untap, I believe. So flipping Prime back to bot mode. So Sturdy Javelin will get some extra damage here. That is probably the Turnabout Snare being set. And he's going to send Prime into Crash Bash, probably eliminating a power hitter there. Throwing the Javelin at Sky-Byte to get the damage. Moving on that. Sky-Byte is now sitting at 5 out of 18, I believe. Going into Crash Bash is 3 from the Bashing Shield. Playing a secret action. I didn't catch what it was. I think that was a Tetranite, or... No, that was a Heroic Resolve. I saw the double blues, I think. Actually, I'm not sure what it was. Either way, Crash Bash is dead here. Our Lord and Savior, Briscoe, shall arise. Moving over to Legendary's turn. So that takes a power hitter off the field, but Briscoe, if you know anything about this channel, can do a lot. He caved in Ramjet's face once, and that caused me to end my tedious 22-game losing streak. And Briscoe could very well do it again here. We see a Tsunami Blaster come down onto the Briscoe for the +1. He'll get the Bold 2 from the Assault Formation and moving damage from Sky-Byte after flipping him to bot mode so he is ranged. Sending in Briscoe first. Going in for, it looks to be 7. Going in 7 flat. Blocking 2, taking 6, or no, taking 5. He's now sitting at 12. And now we're going to see a double secret action barrage, most likely going into Sky-Byte. There's the Sab Arms to get rid of the Tsunami Blaster, and there's the Snare to drop him to a 6-0, I believe. Oh, no, 6-3, so he'll have 3 attack base here, and it looks to be 4 Pierce 1. I think that's a precision fire. Legendary's camera is a little blurry right now, so I can't make it out exactly. So, it looks to be Prime is taking 2 here, so he is sitting at 14. That would KO him, but the strat is making a difference here. It's good to see that that is coming clutch. If he can KO Sky-Byte here, and Legendary has bad luck on his slips with Briscoe, this game could very well end in Naga's favor. We'll have to see, though. It all depends on how much damage Naga is able to get onto Sky-Byte here, because he does have that +3 defense. Let's see what he has to work with. Looking at Naga's deck list here quickly, an Energon Axe would be huge. So Energon Axe, bigger they are, would not work. So we see a secret action come down there. Doesn't seem to have an upgrade in hand. That is going to make a huge difference. And Prime going into Sky-Byte, I think? No actions to play off of Prime's flip. And that will be a dead going into Briscoe instead. Interesting decision. I mean, it does take an attacker off the board, but I would have expected to go after Sky-Byte potentially, because then he just flips to alt mode. There's the Energon Axe. As long as he flips a single black icon, this first game will go in Legendary's favor. There's a turnabout snare, though, so he only has 3 attack, and no black icon, so going in for 3 Pierce 2. Prime is alive on 1, I believe. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. He's going in for 7, so actually, wait a minute. That is a dead Prime. I forgot how math worked again. And on the nose KO, and with that, Legendary will be taking game 1. So we're going to go over to the sideboarding quickly, and while that's going on, there is a couple of things I would like to discuss. Starting with the fact that this is the 4th out of 5 encounters in the first tournament season for Team Bayformers. There is going to be one more encounter after this, encounter 5, and it's also going to be a crossplay event, but it's not going to feature the Arc. This time, it is going to be the WotC cards, the Bayformers cards, and the Phase 1 cards from Turbo Revving Old Punks. Now, if you've not heard of them, they are a group of players primarily headed by the guys that run One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall, Dave and Lee, who you may recognize as the Energon Hustler and Bleaked Up Productions. They recently, and by recently I mean about a month and a half ago, put out a little set of, I think, 16 stratagems, 20 battle cards, and 1 character that introduces some interesting effects into the game, I will admit. Like, there's a tank support piece that allows you to scrap enemy armors on attack. There's a card that puts an upgrade on the bottom of your opponent's deck. There's a lot of Devastator support in there as well, and Devastator is actually a lot more playable with it. So if this is something you are interested in, I would actually recommend going and downloading Turbo Revving Old Punks. Down in the description of this playback or stream or wherever you're watching this, there is a link to the community content page on the Bayformers website. You can find the Turbo Revving Old Punk set underneath the officially supported content by Team Bayformers, and you can go download those from the Google Drive that is linked. Additionally, I mentioned Encounter 5 is going to be crossplay between Turbo Revving and Bayformers. If you find a deck that combines Turbo Revving and Bayformers cards that you think has what it takes to take a encounter, go ahead and build it, and down in the description is also a link to the information page for the World Strike Tournament Series. The information page, obviously. And you can go click on that, find out how to get yourself involved in the 5th and final encounter, and then you're going to have to join us on the Bayformers Discord server. There's a link in the description to that as well. You can join it, you join us there, and you do a few other things, and you're ready to go to fight with another awesome community set and just see what the best of the TFTCG has to offer. So be sure to go check that out if you are interested. We're starting to see shuffles happening here, so we'll see what happens in this next game. I'm not sure who's going first. Naga does get the call. So we'll see what happens. Albeit, I should mention while we're still waiting here, the Encounter series is a competitive event, and you should expect to see a lot of strong decks. Like, a lot of Wave 5 decks are still viable in a meta where Bayformers cards are legal. Like, we have 2 Sky Shadow decks in the top 4, but there is plenty of room for newcomers. You saw Sky-Byte show up here, and then another old deck, Optimus Prime and Friends, showed up. So there is plenty of room to make a name for yourself should you find the right deck build. Just be prepared to face off against some of the strongest this game has to offer, because if you come in here with a casual deck expecting to be good, you could do amazing, but you also might get stomped in by Sky Shadow. So just be aware of the fact that this is a competitive environment. Players are going to be bringing the best decks possible in order to try to win this. So we're just waiting now on a little bit more sideboarding, I believe. So what else do I have to talk about? So I mentioned the community content page, actually. And if you're looking at the officially, officially quote-unquote sponsored content from Team Bayformers, which is all the sets that Team Bayformers officially supports in one way or another, you'll notice that Legendary Void, who is actually playing in this match, has a product called the Galactic Odyssey available. If you've never heard of this before, it's similar to Plane Chase from Magic the Gathering, except applied to Transformers, and I've played a few games of the Galactic Odyssey over on my main channel, and it's mainly meant to be an extension to the Primus format, which is the game's multiplayer format. And Primus without the Galactic Odyssey is okay, but with the Galactic Odyssey, it just adds an extra level of chaos. So I do encourage you to go check out the Primus format, and if you do, be sure to download the Galactic Odyssey. It's a lot of fun. It just adds it adds enough chaos to make the game just go completely crazy, but not too much to where it's just nobody knows what's going on ever. So I definitely recommend checking it out. If you're interested to see how the Galactic Odyssey plays, go check out the main channel. There's a link to the main channel in the description where you can go watch a couple of games with the Galactic Odyssey. And in fact, I am broadcasting this the night of August 21st, and I think next Friday there will be another Galactic Odyssey video coming out. So be sure to stay tuned for that if you want to get notified when that goes up. There's a little red button you can push over on that channel to be notified of that. And if you're interested in seeing when the other top 4 match goes live over here and when the finals match goes live over here, be sure to click the little red button here. So let's do a quick discussion about the sideboards that each player is packing. So Legendary did not choose to side into Blastoff. Makes sense because actually that is an interesting decision because Prime is ranged in bot mode, Night Racer is ranged in alt mode, but actually now that I think about it, having access to Opportune Offensive for that Pierce to blow through Naga's blue composition does make a lot of sense. And it looks to be Naga is going first here, probably to force an attack into Night Racer, if I had to take a wild guess. Looking at Legendary sideboard, if I had to take a wild guess, there's a couple of Hold the Lines that he is siding in there. That would probably be a good tech against Night Racer. He also has a couple of counter espionages that we may see come in. Moving over to Naga sideboard, Ironic did not come into play. There is an End Hostilities, actually 2 copies of End Hostilities in his sideboard, so that could matter considering Legendary's deck does seem to be running primarily orange. And Night Racer's attack goes into whoever for nothing. I'm not sure who it was there. Probably didn't matter just because, again, Night Racer has 3 attack, Naga's running blue, and Legendary really probably wasn't due. He flipped an Assault formation, so either Crash Bash or Gnaw had 3 defense essentially after flips. Sending in Crash Bash into Night Racer here, we see a flip of 7, with Crash Bash's effect, and we see a Cacophonous Failure on Legendary side of things. That actually makes a lot of sense, because for those of you who don't know, Cacophonous Failure is a green icon secret action that triggers when your opponent plays a card with no icons, and when you reveal Cacophonous Failure, you scrap that action. We see a Matrix come down onto Prime here, and I'm assuming we see a Prime flip here, but oh no, Prime actually I think flipped to recover an action. I am not 100% sure on that though. But back to Cacophonous Failure. Secret actions are treated as being blank iconed actions when they are played face down. So if your opponent plays a secret action face down, you can flip up a Cacophonous Failure, I can speak, and just stop that altogether. So he did not pick up that Cacophonous Failure, but Naga does flip up Prime and sends Flame War into Crash Bash, going in for 4 Pierce 2, so Crash Bash will take 2 here. So Naga does have an Assault formation here that he could pick up. He's thinking about what to potentially drop here. Moving back over to Naga's sideboard quickly, Stim Shock might be a tech play just to ensure that Legendary's Beast Modes and Power Punches and Tsunami Blasters don't go off as much, because remember, we saw Stim Shock come down a couple of times against Soundwave in Naga's top 8 match, and that did make a pretty significant difference in terms of the output of the Pierce that Soundwave was able to put out. Okay, so moving over to the Legendary's turn, we see a secret action come down, and Nod is in bot mode, so we could see him flip. Sending Sky-Byte into Night Racer, I believe. Let's see what it happens. Going into Flame War instead, revealing a Tetranite, so Flame War will get +2 defense, but will not get that Pierce 4 negation. Going in for 8 Pierce 1 into Night Racer. Blocking all of it, so Flame War will go ahead and take the Pierce 1 here. We do see a hold the line on Naga's side of things. I'm not too sure if that would be a good decision, and he seems to think it wouldn't be, so we move back over to Naga's turn. There's the draw for turn, and don't think Prime would be flipping to alt mode this turn, just because it would stunt his attack power a little bit, and Naga does need to be as aggressive as he possibly can in order to try to deal with Sky-Byte before Sky-Byte decides to turn into Jaws, essentially. Playing a Smoke Cloak onto Prime, little extra defensive boost, always a good idea. Dropping a security checkpoint, 2 assault formations in Naga's hand, and in Legendaries we see Turnabout, Beast Mode, Belligerence, Precision Fire. No upgrades off this, so that was a bit of a wasted action, but Prime is going to be absolutely smacking somebody here. Flipping Prime to alt mode. Interesting decision. He's already used his action for the turn, so this just seems to be set up for next turn. Grabbing and end hostilities, that does make sense. He won't be able to play it this turn. But it is set up. Sending Prime into Crash Bash, and we see a Turnabout Snare come down. That is mitigated slightly by Prime flipping to alt mode, so Prime will go in for 4 here. And Crash Bash seems to have taken 1 damage. I'm not sure if that was from the attack or from something earlier. I was paying attention to the chat at the time just to keep an eye on that. Even though there is nothing going on there, I do just want to be keeping an eye on that. We see Sky-Byte flip to bot mode. Let's see what Legendary will get off of this. Opportune Offensive. Okay, this is going to be incredibly painful for whoever gets attacked. Playing it on... Oh, wait, actually, wait a minute. That does nothing because both of Legendary's Decepticons are tapped. So, that's a bit of a wasted use of Sky-Byte there. We will see a Precision Fire calling alt mode, so Crash Bash will take a damage, and both Prime and Night Racer will do the same. So now we see what he does with Naw here. He does have that upgrade play available. Just sending Naw straight up into Night Racer, it sounded like. I'm not 100% sure. 3 Pierce 1, it looks like, so... going into Flame War, so Flame War will take that damage, and we will see an untap here and a move back over to Naga's turn. Dropping a Beast Mode for a reprocess before that happens. So we see the untap, and let's see what Naga is able to do here. Drawing for turn. Would not be surprised if we see Prime flip to bot mode here, and then on the next turn flip him to alt mode. The question is, does he set that end hostilities he picks up to try to stunt an attack here? Not 100% sure, but we will see what happens. So we're seeing him dig through his scrap pile, not too sure for what exactly, because Prime flipped to alt mode last turn. Maybe he's just checking what he still has available in the deck. That's probably my best guess. We see a bit of contemplation happening here. So if I had to take a wild guess, Night Racer gets sent into probably Gnaw if I had to take a wild guess here, just to try to get some damage onto him so he can be deleted. Just because, again, that opportune offensive that Legendary has access to is going to be huge when it comes to dealing with the blue that Naga is throwing out. We see Prime flip to bot mode, like I said earlier, that just makes sense in this situation. And he still has both his action and his upgrade. We do see a secret come down. Sending Night Racer in. Sending into Gnaw. Okay, so I actually called that turn perfectly in terms of cards not being played. Or in terms of the flip and the attack, in terms of things other than the cards being played, I should say. Gnaw will take 3 off of this. So Night Racer was going in for 4 Pierce 1. Gnaw must only have 1 defense in bot mode, I think. Let's actually take a look at that while I wait for Legendary to draw his card here. Gnaw indeed does have only 1 defense in bot mode, so he must have not flipped any blues. Flipping Gnaw to alt mode, grabbing an opportune offensive. Crash Bash is probably going in here into Night Racer just to try and delete her. Dropping the reprocess instead in order to get rid of the Matrix and heal Prime back to full. That pierce damage, actually it's probably not the pierce damage that's the problem off of that, it's the +1. So now we're seeing Legendary check Naga's scrap pile for secret actions. We see 2 copies of Turnabout Snare, we do see a copy of Hold the Line, a copy of Tetranite, a copy of Sabotaged Armaments, a Heroic Resolve, and a End Hostility. So Naga is running 2 Heroic Resolved, 2 Sabotage Armaments, 1 Hold the Line, 2 Tetranite, 2 Turnabout, 2 End Hostilities, and we don't see any copies of Stim Shock, so I don't think he sided into that. So in this situation, it's either a Sab Arms, a Sab Arms or an End Hostilities, because I don't think there's any setting where he puts Heroic Resolve down in this situation. It is a Sab Arms to get rid of the grenade launcher. That stunts Crash Bash's attack power a decent bit. Going in for 8 because... Oh, no, it's 7 because Crash Bash is very much not a specialist. So going into Night Racers... Going into 6, taking 1. So Night Racer will now be at 4 damage. Dropping Assault Formation for Reflex Circuits. Again, Reflex Circuits make sense in this situation. All of Legendary's characters are melee, with the exception of Sky-Byte in bot mode. We're probably going to see Prime flip to alt mode here to recover some sort of action. I'm not too sure what the play would be here. Maybe an Assault Formation to give Flame War a bit of extra bold 1. Reflex Circuits comes on to Night Racer, so she is ranged, so she does have access to that. Prime will flip, and... Oh, wait, there was a Stim Shock. Okay, so Stim Shock is in play here. That is... So it looks like Naga does have access to his full suite of secret actions, which totals out to 13 total, with 7 different secret actions. He's looking here as to what to get. Again, I think the Assault Formation might be the play here, because it moves the damage off Night Racer onto somebody, gives Flame War bold 1, albeit she will be stuck in alt mode, so maybe not actually. He seems to be slowing down. He's looking at something. Honestly, I'm not sure what he picks up here. Like, really, again, I think this is hand dependent, so grabbing the snares, so that may be his action he sets for the turn in order to try and stop Sky-Byte a little bit. It won't, again, it doesn't impact Sky-Byte as much because of the fact that he has that +3 defense boost from Predacon Fortitude. And if Sky-Byte does go in here, he does currently have 2 cards underneath him, but with the attack trigger in his alt mode, he will be going up to 5, which means his bonus will cap out at that +3 health, +3 defense. Setting a secret action, the question is that the snare, or is that something else that Naga was holding on to? Flame War will go into Crash Bash here, going in for 3, blocking to taking 1 for Crash Bash, so he is now sitting at 5 out of his 13 health. No greens to talk about here, so we will move back over to Legendary's turn. And let's see what he has to offer here. He probably flips Sky-Byte. Yep, there we go. Oh, wait, nope. He's considering flipping Gnaw here, potentially. We will have to wait and see what he does here. He does have, I think, 5 cards in his hand. So, yeah, it looks to be 5. So he does have some options available here. He still has that Opportune Offensive from a turn ago, so... So, we'll see what happens here. I think he saw that Reflex Circuits and had a second thought about flipping Sky-Byte. Flipping Gnaw to bot mode to give himself Bold 2, because Gnaw's ability does work on himself. He's looking at something. Setting a secret action, so I don't think we see the Opportune Offensive, assuming he has that in hand, which I think he does. Sending Gnaw into I don't know who, and an End Hostilities comes down, so that will completely negate, Legendary's Bold. So swinging in for, I believe, 3 Pierce 1, if I'm not mistaken, because Legendary should not have any bonuses from flips here, aside from Pierce flips, and Naga is shuffling here. So it's either Flame War blocking for 2 so far, or Night Racer blocking for 5. I had to take a wild guess Flame War, just because that +2 defense bonus from Reflex Circuits could be a bit of a problem when it comes to pushing damage through. Going into Flame War... Oh, nope, going into Night Racer, actually, so... Oh, nope, Flame War takes Pierce 1. I forgot Night Racer is a aura ability, so that will mean that everybody gets that bold, or that tough one from having a face-up secret action. Opportune Offensive for, I think that was a Pocket Processor. I did not hear that fully, so we'll just have to wait and see what it actually was. Moving back over to Naga's turn, he will draw, and let's see what happens now. Does have Prime in alt mode. Going to be flipping him back to bot mode here. I don't see why he wouldn't, unless he's trying to mitigate against the turnabout snare, potentially. Yep, there's flipping Prime. Setting another secret. That very much may be a turnabout snare. Dropping a cloaking screen onto Flame War. That's the first time I think we've seen that card ever. So, for those of you who aren't aware, Cloaking Screen is an arc upgrade that gives +1 defense to the upgraded character. It is a blue with a ranged green, and it is essentially immersed in shadow, so stealth while untapped. Sending Prime into, I don't know, I missed that. Revealing a turnabout snare. Playing the bigger they are onto Prime for the +2 boost. Won't get the Pierce, though, so that is unfortunate. Either way, oh wait, nope. So, he went into Gnaw there. Turnabout Snare drops his attack to 2. He gets the +2 boost. That's 4 into 1, taking 3. He's at 6. Okay, that adds up. So, we do see a Bashing Shield on Legendary side of things. Does he want to pick that up? There are 3 armors on Naga's side of the board, so it is pretty tempting if I had to take a wild guess. Dropping another Opportune Offensive, that does seem a little suspect at first, but then you remember that Gnaw is in bot mode, so he has the ability to recover that this turn, even though he will not be able to flip Sky-Byte to alt mode this turn as well. So does he try to go for the Opportune Offensive, or does he flip Sky-Byte? He flips Sky-Byte. Unless he, yeah, so flipping Sky-Byte here. Bashing Shield on Gnaw to knock off the Reflex Circuits on Night Racer. Definitely seems like the correct play, because it is the most beneficial out of the 3. Smoke Cloak is a little bit high rolly. Cloaking Screen only gives +1 and doesn't have stealth right now. So, Legendary dropped the Counter Espionage Calling Snare there. We also see an Assault Formation and a Stim Shock. Okay, so Stim Shock is in play, albeit that is an amazing tech card on Naga's choice, I must say. Irrelevant of matchup, that is just a great card to see play. It's honestly one of my favorite cards in BFA. And maybe of all time, I don't know. Does nothing in this situation because nobody has Bold, so Sky-Byte will get an additional 3 cards under him. His boost is reset back to that maximum +3/+3. and we see what the flips are. Wait a minute, I think Legendary just did it twice on accident. He is fixing the mistake here. And so Sky-Byte is swinging for 8, no Pierce into Night Racer, it looks like. Has the tough one from the Stim Shock being face up. Taking 2 goes to 6. Okay, so Legendary has not been able to pump nearly as much damage through this game because Night Racer's only on half health. I think at this time last game she was at possibly alive on 1, I believe. Flame War is only at 3, and Prime has nothing, so this match could very well go either way still, but that full health Sky-Byte is still sitting on the board, so we have to be cognizant of that. Flipping Prime to alt mode to recover an action. If I had to take a wild guess, it's a bigger they are here to push some damage through onto Crash Bash, potentially. But we will just have to wait and see. Again, it's dependent on what Naga has in his hand. If he has a bigger they are, they'll already... He could just grab something to set up for next turn, and he is playing 2 bigger they are. I think we've only seen 1, but I am not 100% sure on that. Still contemplating here. This is taking a minute. So we must have a few options to potentially go into here. Still thinking. Again, I think the bigger they are is the play here, if anything, assuming he even has one in his scrap. He could also have one in hand again. In that case, once again, set up for next turn. And Legendary just noted the fact of how much different this game is. There's the bigger they are. Playing it onto Night Racer, it looks like. There's a Matrix back onto Prime, and Night Racer will go into, I believe, Crash Bash? I'm not sure if he said Crash Bash or Sky-Byte there. So going in for 6 Pierce 5. Wait, is he going into Gnaw? He went into Gnaw. Wait, what? Hold on a minute. I'm confused as to why he went into Gnaw there. He would have guaranteed more damage on the Crash Bash, but maybe it was just to take an attacker off the board, but unfortunately that plan backfired and Gnaw was left alive on 1 as the Bayformers server curse comes into play. Legendary is able to pick up that opportune offensive once again, probably deploying it on the Crash Bash. Playing a processor onto Sky-Byte, so it looks like that was what he picked up earlier when I was wondering if it was a processor or not. And Legendary seems to be doing a bit of math at the moment. Does he need that opportune offensive to get through Night Racer's defense? At this point, I'd probably say yes, just because, again, Naga's deck is just able to throw out a lot of blue pretty consistently. I mean, that's how he built it, after all. Yep, putting the opportune offensive on a Crash Bash, swinging in. He's currently swinging in for 7, 8, 9, 11. 11 Pierce 4 going into Prime. Or no, not into Prime, into Night Racer. Alive on 1 once again. And just as a reminder to those of you at home who are not familiar with Crash Bash, his ult mode ability is that when he attacks and flips a number of oranges equal to or less than his defense, or equal to or less than his defense, he gets +2 attack until end of battle. So if he flips 2 or less oranges in this situation, he'll get that +2 bonus. He flipped only 2 oranges on this last attack, so he got the +2, swung in for 11. We see an assault formation, moving a damage from Night Racer onto Gnaw, flipping Flame War for turn, flipping her back up to bot mode, and sending Flame War into Crash Bash. Going in for 3, 4 Pierce 4, it looks like. So Crash Bash will go up to 9 damage. Moving back over to Legendary's turn here. Sky-Byte really doesn't have a opportune target selection. If I had to take a wild guess, though, he's probably going to send into Flame War here. We do see some green icons getting picked up over here. I'm not sure what Legendary's was. And what does Legendary have in hand? So Sky-Byte is going to be going in here. He's going to get 3 more cards underneath him. Does he consider flipping Sky-Byte to bot mode, potentially? Okay, that answer is yes. Every time I've mentioned Sky-Byte flipping, Legendary seems to do it immediately, so... Cacophonous Failure coming down, so if Naga does try to play a secret action next turn, it's going to be a no-go, just because, again, Cacophonous Failure can stop a secret action that is being set. So we see Sky-Byte flip. We got the Cacophonous Failure off of it. So he still has his action and his upgrade. And Legendary's over here saying it doesn't do anything. But reminder, again, I've said this at least 4 times. You can stop secret actions with it. Another secret comes down. And Sky-Byte will go after Flame War, I think it is? Nope, going after Night Racer. Night Racer will bite the dust here, so now we are at a even game once again. Well, even in terms of the number of characters left on the field, even though Briscoe is another character in and of himself, but let's not get into technicalities here. So, end of turn, the Cacophonous Failure. Oh, wait, I forgot the Cacophonous Failure is scrapped at the end of turn just because Sky-Byte has that clause where the card is scrapped at the end until the end of the turn. Moving back over to Naga's turn, he looks to have drawn for turn. Flipping Prime back up is probably the first move he makes here. Checking the scrap pile, probably just to see what's remaining in deck. And actually, it would probably be for what the flips are, if I had to take a wild guess. Albeit that scrap pile is pretty large, so this may take a minute to check. So, albeit, again, it is really nice just to see OPBL sit, on the field again at the top tiers. Again, for those of you who aren't aware of the meta before Wave 5, actually even before Wave 4, OPBL plus Flame War and Wave 2 Hot Rod was probably one of the best decks. Was also driven by the fact that Press the Advantage was unbanned, but Press the Advantage is now banned, and United Against Tyranny from Bayformers has come to take its place. And again, United Against Tyranny is just Press the Advantage without a green icon. Security Checkpoint will come down from Naga. What upgrades does Legendary have in hand? He has a Bashing Shield, but also has a Belligerence, Opportune Offensive, and a Reprocess. I didn't catch what Naga's other card was there. Flipping Prime back to bot mode, and then sending him into going into Crash Bash, trying to take an attacker off the board. There is a Turnabout Snare, though, so Naga will go in here for 2 base because of the snare. And let's see what other actions Naga could flip here after the reshuffle, unfortunately. Gotta love this game sometimes. This is probably the most time-consuming part of it if I had to take a wild guess. That and seeing a Springer Daring Escape player resolve their combo. And if you think that's fun, you deserve to go to the 10th Ring of Hell because Daring Escape sucks. And by sucks, I mean it just is terrible for the game. Okay, so we have Assault Formation and Turnabout Snare as the potential actions off of Prime. Setting the snare, going in for 2 Pierce 1. So going up to 10 out of his 13. And also, I should mention I was joking about the Daring Escape players, thing. But, yeah, Daring Escape is just not a fun deck to play against. So we have an untap here. Drawing for turn. Drawing for the processor. And flipping Sky-Byte to alt mode. Apparently, Legendary may have not drawn an upgrade there. So he knows the snare is set, so he does have that full boost off of Predacon Fortitude, though. Beast mode, it probably... Oh, actually, it doesn't matter who he goes into here. He will get the Bolt 4. That will negate the Turnabout Snare to an extent, because Bolt is probably one of the best counters, or rather, one of the counters to Turnabout Snare. And Sky-Byte will be going in here for 4... Oh, wait, actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Pierce 3, it looks like. Taking the Pierce 3 onto Prime. Dropping an Anglemois Search for a counter espionage definitely seems like the correct play. Anglemois probably is just going to get stunted by all the blue that Naga's flipping, so dropping that for a counter espionage does make sense just to stop any extra defensive abilities that Naga may have on hand. Moving over to Naga's turn, he only has 2 cards in hand, it looks like, so we will have to just wait and see what that he might draw. Energon acts on the Flame War. Yeah, that's a power play pretty much every time it happens. Looking through the scrap here, we probably will see a Prime flip. Question is, what does he grab off of that? Maybe a Bigger They Are to punch through Sky-Byte's defense. I mean, we did see him do that earlier for just the +2 attack bonus to try and KO Nah, but he will get the full effect here because Sky-Byte is 11 stars, Flame War is 5 if he chooses to send Flame War in here. Question now really is, does he have the Bigger They Are in scrap? Flipping Prime. Grabbing a scouting mission instead. Okay. Oh, wait, nope. We're seeing that taken back. Thinking instead. Looked like there was a Bigger They Are. There's the Bigger They Are. Okay, so that is confirmed. Playing it on the Flame War. So now she's swinging in for, I believe, 8 Pierce 5? 8 Pierce 7, actually, total. Dang, that's a pretty significant hit. And Sky-Byte will defend for 4 here. So that's... Wait a minute, hold on. He just said 9 Pierce 7, so that's 6... Oh, yeah, that is 9 Pierce 7. I cannot do math. I thought it was 8 for a moment. So, Sky-Byte is currently defending for 4, so 9 into 4. The Pierce 7 will be happening here. So, yeah, there goes half of Sky-Byte's health, roughly. Half of his base health with the Fortitude in play. That's a whole nother story. So, Legendary will draw for turn. Doesn't seem to be having luck with drawing upgrades, so he'll flip Sky-Byte to bot mode, hopefully get, like, a grenade launcher or something. There's a Tsunami Blaster for Crash Bash. He's going to have to put it on Crash Bash, because putting it on Sky-Byte makes 0 sense, considering it will scrap at the end of turn. Puts it on Sky-Byte anyways. Oh, that was a bit of a misplay. Has an action, it looks like. He's thinking here. He has that counter espionage if he wants to try to potentially get a card, or get that last card out of Naga's hand. Probably wouldn't be the ideal option in this situation, though. Beast Mode Crash Bash going into Flame War. That'll give him the bold 4. And that will be going in for... Definitely not triggering Crash Bash's ability, but going in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not sure how much Pierce there is, though. Going in for 8 attack, though. Okay, so there was Pierce 2 on the attack, so Flame War will take 2, go to 5. She is sitting at half health. And let's see what Naga is able to do with Prime this turn. If he has another weapon in hand, that will be huge towards potentially getting a KO on Sky-Byte. We will see something dropped. I'm not sure what Legendary picked up there. It was just a pile of cards, so really couldn't make it out. So what does Naga have available? Sitting at 2 cards in hand, if I'm not mistaken. Flipping Prime to bot mode makes sense. Three health, Sturdy Javelin, or I don't know why I said 3 health, probably because Naga just said Prime has 3 health. Playing a Sturdy Javelin on Prime, and then Assault Formation to flip Flame War to alt mode, moving a damage from Prime to Crash Bash as well, throwing the Javelin at Crash Bash, which will KO him, and the attack will be going into, I believe, Sky-Byte here. Yeah, it has to go into Sky-Byte. Setting a Sab Arms, and Prime will be going in for 10, Pierce nothing. Wait, bold 1 from Flame War. Oh, we got 2 more cards, actually. Still setting the Sab Arms, so going in for 10 into Sky-Byte's 4, I believe, here. So, it's taking 6. Sky-Byte is now sitting at 13 health. And it seems that Legendary just still cannot draw any upgrades. Has Briscoe available, but not much may really help him here aside from a grenade launcher or an angle maw surge. Putting a bashing shield down, getting rid of the cloaking screen. Okay. That does allow an attack to go into Flame War when the untap happens. Actually, no. Naga has first attack after an untap, so getting rid of the cloaking screen there really doesn't make any sense. If I personally would have gotten rid of the smoke cloak, but maybe Legendary's trying to get a KO on Flame War here, so that +1 defense was causing a bit of a problem, so that would make sense if you consider that context. So Sky-Byte flips to ult mode here for the additional +1 defense. Legendary's apparently got some sort of play in hand that would apparently make him laugh. Not too sure what it is, but I am ready to laugh if he tries it. Hasn't played an action yet this turn. If he has like an angle maw surge or something, now would be the time to drop it. If he had an assault formation, he would have dropped that before Sky-Byte flipped, so that seems to be off the table. So let's see. Still thinking here. Trying to figure out what to do with our Lord and Savior Briscoe. And for those of you who are not akin to the, or familiar with the, don't know why I said akin, but familiar with the Lord Briscoe joke, basically what happened was I was on a 22-game losing streak, and then it ended because Briscoe absolutely caved in Ramjet's face. Wait. Was that a concession? I think that was a concession from Legendary. Wait a minute. We are going to a Game 3, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to a Game 3. Holy crap. Yep, that seems to be a concession from Legendary. Blastoff is coming in place of Nos. So let's go ahead and update that on the overlay. So Blastoff will be able to ping Night Racer and Prime while Prime is in bot mode, but also will get extra attack against Prime considering the fact that he is a truck in alt mode. At least when Prime is in alt mode, so something to take into account here. We will have to see how this goes, but the set is tied at 1 apiece now. This still very much could go either way. So, and also I just checked Discord on my phone. It seems that Legendary did forget about the Tsunami Blaster on Sky-Byte, but didn't have an impact on the game, so we are just going to move over that. Or move on from that, I can speak. God, it is. Still getting used to this whole commentary thing. So, while sideboarding is happening, what funny stories do I have to tell? Oh, yeah, fun story. The other night, I was actually doing some beta testing for BFB, which, by the way, if you want to help with that, I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment if I get the chance, but there is a link in the description where you can download the BFB beta. But I was testing Invasion of Cybertron, and Scorp, who is another regular on the server and has appeared in a couple of the Primus videos that I've done over on the main channel. One is currently up, the other is coming out on Friday. Scorp built a deck specifically to counter Invasion of Cybertron using Raider Needler of all characters to stop Kledgy from healing. Ravage to ping Kledgy, thanks to the fact that Kledgy generally has 4 defense due to having an aspect, and Soundwave to untap Ravage. And the reason I say that it was specifically designed to counter Invasion of Cybertron was due to some of the deck choices Scorp was making, including, I think, either maining 2 or 3 Hijack in the deck. So, yeah, you can imagine how pissed off I was when that first Hijack got flipped up. Oh my god, that was a rough night. In fact, it was a joke for a while that Scorp was an absolute mad scientist, and it's still kind of going, so if you ever come onto this server, which, by the way, link in the description if you want to join the Bayformer server, and you play against Scorp, be prepared to see some weird stuff, because he is constantly doing some weird deck compositions. But seems to be starting the game, and Legendary looks to be going first, flipping Blastoff, doing 2 damage to Night Racer, and sending Crash Bash probably into Night Racer if I had to take a wild guess, just to eliminate her off the board. Going in for a flat 6. He did flip 3 oranges, so that will prevent Crash Bash's ability from going off. 6 going in to 6, it looks like, so nobody is taking any damage. I would have had to guess that was Night Racer because that is the only way that math works out, unless he was attacking Prime there. Because I think... Actually, wait a minute. He might have been attacking Prime there, so... Secret action. Because I don't think I saw a second double blue on that defense flip from Naga, so... It was probably Prime if I had to take a wild guess. 3 Pierce 1 coming in from Night Racer here, and Crash Bash will take the 1. Dropping a scouting mission for Reflex Circuits. Reflex. I can speak. And we're going to move back over to Legendary's turn. Doesn't seem to be picking up that bashing shield, so draw for turn. Processor onto Sky-Byte, get that draw power going early and often. Do we see a flip of... probably not going to flip Blast Off back to alt mode quite yet, just because Prime is not vulnerable in truck mode. Assault Formation, flipping Blast Off to alt mode, flipping him back to bot mode, and... pinging Night Racer for 2 more. Again, Sky-Byte gets the Bull 2 off of Assault Formation. And also, by the way, Blast Off is a specialist. Flipping a Stim Shock. So that will cancel Sky-Byte's Bold and make him take a damage. So that is heads-up play right there. Also, for those not familiar with Blast Off, we saw this in Legendary's top 8 match. But he's a specialist in both modes. And bot mode, when you flip to it, you do 2 damage to a ranged enemy. And in alt mode, he gets +2 attack against a truck or a tank. So, Night Racer managed to defend against that attack. And so, I'm not sure how much he was going in for there. I think it was either 7 or 8. I'm not 100% sure, but Night Racer managed to defend against it. Scouting mission onto Prime. Pinging Flame War for 1, draw 2. Let's see if he gets an upgrade off of this, or if he already had an upgrade in hand and is just prepping for future turns, potentially. Looks like there is an upgrade in hand. Matrix onto Prime, get that extra chip damage in now. Flame War going in here. Going into Crash Bash. So, Flame War going in for 4 Pierce 1. So, looks to be Crash Bash taking 2, so going up to 3 damage. Looks to be a green icon. I think that might have been a lose the battle. I'm not 100% sure. Drawing for turn. There's that draw for the processor as well. Tsunami Blaster onto Sky-Byte, setting up for a future attack. Flipping Sky-Byte, what will be the card that we see from underneath him? PTT, yeah, that is something that Legendary is absolutely not going to play that. Okay, so, actually, wait a minute. Sky-Byte says you have to play it, but PTT is a May effect. So, yeah, not playing the Peace Through Tyranny, because you'd either have to KO Sky-Byte or Crash Bash in this situation, and neither of those seems like the best idea in the world. Not going to flip Blast Off. He looks to set a secret action there, and Blast Off going in for 3 Pierce 2, going into Night Racer, taking the 2. And now we wait and see what to make of... That is an Assault Formation that just got picked up on Legendary side, and we move over to Naga's turn. So he's got Prime to flip to bot mode here. And then what does he have for his action and upgrade is the question. He has an Assault Formation that could give Prime a little bit of extra firepower, but that's an if. Won't be able to recover it because of the fact that he already has Prime in alt mode. And Naga's really thinking here about what to do potentially for plays. And we go back to the hand. Surprised he hasn't flipped Prime yet, so he must have some sort of decision that relates to Prime, potentially. Maybe he has the Assault Formation in hand? Drops a Vaporize to get rid of the Tsunami Blaster, so that stunts Sky-Byte's attack power a little bit. And the upgrade for turn will be, assuming Naga has one, Reflex Circuits onto Night Racer. Again, makes sense, we've seen this before. Not gonna flip Prime. Interesting decision. Oh, right, that stunts against the turnabout snare a little bit. So now he's going in for 3 base instead of 2. Taking 1 into Blast Off here, actually, so... We will see an untap now, and moving over to Legendary's turn, I would not be surprised if we saw Blast Off flip to alt mode and sending him after Prime, just because, again, Blast Off does have that +2 against a truck or tank, and Prime is very much a truck in this mode. Starting off for Legendary's turn, we will see a Assault Formation, so that'll flip... so that'll give Crash Bash Bolt to move a damage from Sky-Byte over to Night Racer and flipping Blast Off to alt mode. So the question is, does he flip him back? He's thinking about it. Flips back to bot mode, does 2 more to Night Racer, and we are going to see Crash Bash probably going in here just because, again, he has that Bolt 2. He still has his upgrade, though, as well, so that may... boost Crash Bash even further. Grenade Launcher, yeah, that'll do it. Going into Flame War here. So, Flame War is sitting at 1 damage out of her 9 health. So the swing is for 12 Pierce 1 into Flame War. So, there's a white icon. So, Flame War's defending for 4, it looks like. 12 into 4. Takes 8 alive on 1 once again. Oh, the server curse comes into play once more. Where's Gyrick when you need him? Angle Moi for a Tsunami Blaster, again, makes sense. You want the effects that are going to give you either Bolt or Pierce just because of how much blue that Naga is able to throw out. Angle Moi Surge probably could easily be countered either by flipping a lot of blue or flipping a Turnabout Snare if Naga has that set. So moving back over to Naga's turn now, Night Racer is probably going to be the target to send in here just because it'll be a sacrifice to prevent... Actually, Flame War could very much do that as well, but Night Racer might be something that he wants to save to defend a bit more of damage. Actually, it really doesn't matter in this situation, because Night Racer's alive on 2, Flame War's alive on 1, Prime will flip to bot mode to set up for a action recovery next turn. Now the question is, who is Naga going to send in as a sacrifice? Because probably whoever he sends in is going to die, assuming Legendary even sends in Blast Off, because... he still is playing a orange-heavy deck. We're going to see a secret action come down. It's probably a Turnabout Snare if I had to take a wild guess. Smoke Cloak onto Prime and send Night Racer into Crash Bash as he has to. And that will go in for 3. 3 Pierce 1. Wait. Oh, yeah, 4 Pierce 1 because of the Matrix. I was like, where is the Pierce coming from? So... Pierce 1 onto Blast, or no, that was onto Crash Bash. So moving over to Legendary's turn. He has another Insult Formation in hand. That might be handy to get the KO on Night Racer here. So we'll just have to wait and see. Flipping Sky-Byte back to alt mode, so it doesn't seem... It seems he doesn't have the Assault Formation in hand. Bashing Shield comes down onto Sky-Byte to get rid of the Smoke Cloak. So this probably telegraphs he's sending Sky-Byte into Night Racer, just because if he wanted to KO Night Racer with Blast Off, he'd probably be getting rid of the Smoke Cloak. Master of Metallicato comes down, Turnabout Snare drops. Okay, so Sky-Byte, I believe, has... Oh, so with the boost, he'll have the +3 defense max, so he will be swinging in for 5 with the Bashing Shield. So 5 base, plus flips, plus Master of Metallicato boost. So this attack is stunted only a little bit. I think by 2 points total here. We're waiting for a reshuffle from Legendary here. Currently, that first flip is a orange, so that is 5, 6, 7 currently before the remainder of the flips, because again, Master of Metallicato. 8 going in here, confirmed, and Night Racer will be defending for 4 base. So, Naga could very well defend this here. Oh! That is a full defense of Sky-Byte's attack. Night Racer will live this turn. That is pretty significant. How significant, we'll have to wait and see, but for now, it is a significant thing. I will say that much. Moving back over to Naga's turn, we will see probably Prime flipping to alt mode to recover an action. Maybe a bigger they are in order to punch an additional bit of damage through onto either Sky-Byte or more likely Crash Bash. Searching the scrap pile, so that probably indicates a recovery of an action. So while he's searching that, let's just wait another second here. Okay, so this may take a bit. Oh, nope, he's got an action that he's looking at. It looks to be a bigger they are. Oh, wait, he's going back in. That bigger they are, he seems to be eyeing up, though, so that could very much be the play if he chooses to flip Prime to alt mode. And flipping Prime to alt mode, there it is. Grabbing the bigger they are and playing it onto Flame War, and we will see Flame War probably going into Crash Bash here after a Smoke Cloak. So the Smoke Cloak comes down on the Prime, Flame War goes into Crash Bash, and she is currently swinging for 5 Pierce 4, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, this has been going for over an hour, so this has been a pretty good match, I will admit. Another back and forth. So 6 Pierce 6 going into Crash Bash, so Crash Bash will block 3, take 6, go up to 10. Briscoe is keeping him alive here at this point. Dropping a Power Punch for a Assault Formation, I think that was. Moving back over to Legendary's turn, he will draw and draw for the Processor. So if he plays that Assault Formation, he'll get the Bolt 2 on either Sky-Byte or Crash Bash, which really won't matter. So he flips Sky-Byte, so now he has a damage move that really doesn't matter. Seems fishy. Bill, very funny. Counter Espionage comes down from Sky-Byte's trigger. Let's see what happens. What will the call be off of Counter Espionage since he has to play it here? Okay, so he called Assault Formation, gets rid of it, and there was a Cloaking Screen in hand as well. With an action for turn, an Assault Formation will come down. Flip... Oh, wait. So Sky-Byte flips to alt mode, I think, off of the Assault Formation. Oh, yeah, that's the Assault Formation flip. Tsunami Blaster will come down onto Sky-Byte and just prepping for a later swing and sending sending Flame, or I am just saying everyone that isn't on Legendary's team, sending Blast Off into Flame War. That will KO her. That is one character down on Naga's side. Reprocess dropping for a Counter Espionage. Alrighty, so drawing for turn on Naga's side. Let's see what he decides to do here. Okay, apparently there was a misplay. I'm not sure what is going on here. He probably will be flipping Prime to bot mode here because that's where you want to be with Prime. And let's just see what he has in order to drop. Okay, so Blastoff has 8 health. I thought he had 10 for a moment. I don't know why. So, flipping Prime to bot mode. Dropping a Cloaking Screen on a Night Racer to replace the Reflex Circuit, so that will force an attack into Prime on the untap. And Does he have an upgrade in hand here? Not too sure. Either he's deliberating about the upgrade that's in his hand, or he's sending Prime into somebody. Or deliberating who he's sending Prime into. Sending Prime into Crash Bash, it seems. Okay, so an Assault Formation is on the field. Moving a damage from Night Racer. Putting the damage on to Blast Off from the move. And the attack is for 8 Pierce, or 9 Pierce 1, excuse me. So Blast Off will bite the dust here. So on the untap, whoever Legendary sends in will have to, unfortunately, go into Prime here. So that may stunt an attack. We'll see, though. Albeit it may be beneficial for Legendary to get a hit on Prime right now, considering Night Racer is alive on 3. So he'll be able to clean her off the field pretty easy. Clean her off the field. Clean up the board, I should say. I'm still getting used to this whole broadcasting thing, so forgive me for stumbling over myself a few times. Flipping Sky-Byte to alt mode from Legendary in the meanwhile, so he does have that bold from Tsunami Blaster. I just don't know how much specifically. I think it's either 2 or 4 right now, if I had to take a wild guess. Bashing off Night Racer's armor, so he'll be able to send Crash Bash into Night Racer here, potentially. Opportune Offensive, that is a guaranteed kill on Night Racer here, so the play that Legendary is making right now, sending Crash Bash in, kills Night Racer, forces an attack from Prime into Crash Bash, that'll KO him, Briscoe will be deployed, and then Sky-Byte goes into Prime here and tries to clean up house. Now, that being said, both Prime and Sky-Byte are fully alive, so we'll see what happens here. Prime will recover a Vaporize and vaporize away the Tsunami Blaster, sending Prime into Crash Bash. Again, flipping to alt mode makes sense aside from the action recovery because +1 defense and you don't really need the attack. 7 Pierce 1 going into Crash Bash. I believe that will be a KO. No, wait, he flipped. He has a Bashing Shield, so he defends for 5 and is alive on 1. The server curse comes into play once again, unfortunately. Moving over to Legendary's turn, another Tsunami Blaster comes down onto Sky-Byte. Belligerence to shut down any defensive abilities that Naga's deck may have, and this is going to absolutely hurt. So, Sky-Byte will swing in here for 7. 14 swinging in here. Taking 11. This very well could be the end of the game on Legendary's next turn, but Naga will get, at the very minimum, 1 more swing. We will see an untap here, and Naga will draw for turn. Probably going to KO Crash Bash just to try to increase his chances at winning as much as possible, because a KO of Sky-Byte at this point does seem out of the picture. At least in this exact moment. It isn't necessarily out of the picture for the entire game. We'll see Prime flip back to bot mode. Maybe if he has like a Sturdy Javelin or something in hand, he can use that to KO Crash Bash and go into Sky-Byte instead. Like, if he has that, that's the optimal play here, but there's a secret action coming down. Not sure what it could be. Maybe a Sab Arms. There's the Sturdy Javelin. Okay, just as I said, sending Prime into Sky-Byte, throwing the Javelin at Crash Bash, that will KO him. Briscoe is now on the field, our Lord and Savior. There's a Stim Shot coming down onto Prime, or after, but via Prime's flip, there we go, that's the word. And that will negate most of Sky-Byte's bold, but not all of it. He will still have 1 point left. Tank, this is a damn good fight. I am genuinely surprised. That makes 2 of us. This has been absolutely incredible. Honestly, like, I'm honestly not sure how this could go, because now Naga has a Stim Shock and another secret action set, so that could potentially stunt Sky-Byte's entire attack here. We'll have to wait and see. But Prime will swing in here for I don't know how much. Either way, Sky-Byte is taking 3. Moving over to Legendary's turn. He needs to get through, I think, 6 damage here. Legendary's just considering what that other secret action could be aside from the Stim Shock. probably wouldn't be another... Actually, no, he wouldn't have known that he would have flipped the Stim Shock, so it could very well be a second Stim Shock, and we could see 2 damage on Sky-Byte here. Angle Moi Surge on the Sky-Byte, that definitely helps. And is he going to... He's sending Sky-Byte in first. Stim Shocking the Sky-Byte, so he'll only have Bold 1 and take an additional damage here, but he is swinging in for 12 base, so that is significant. No Turnabout Snare, though, so that is pretty important. Only flipped blues there. I think that was 2 Assault Formations, and I'm not sure what that third card is. I think that's an Angle Moi Surge. And Prime will defend for 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 12. 12 into 5 takes 7. And unfortunately, with that swing, Prime will go down, meaning that Legendary has won this set in 3 games. That was a hell of a set, I must admit. Like, orange versus blue matchups do tend to go this way, I must admit, but Sky-Byte put in work, Prime put in work, really everybody put in work there, and the sideboard Tex came in clutch. We saw Stim Shock come down a couple of times. Blastoff made a huge difference there in terms of getting Night Racer off the field early, so I think that was definitely a major factor in Legendary's victory there. So with this, Legendary advances to the finals, and he will either have to face Sky Scepter or Sky Bull, and I'm not exactly sure who it will be at this point. It could go either way between Sky Scepter or Sky Bull, but we will just have to wait and see. Again, you will be able to catch that match here on Servants of the Dice Gods Live. The time currently has not been scheduled yet. As soon as I find out what time that will happen at and what date it will happen on, I will schedule a stream, and you'll be able to watch at that point. But if you don't want to miss when it happens, be sure to hit that little red button down below, so that way you can get notified when the stream goes live, so we can see who the other contestant will be in the finals. Again, to recap the night, Legendary with his Sky-Byte, Crash Bash, Gnaw deck, siding in Blastoff in Game 3, manages to overtake Naga with his OPBL and Friends list in 3 games. That being said, be sure to stick around. By stick around, excuse me, I mean subscribe, so that way you can see the other top 4 match happen. And until then, have a good rest of your whatever time zone you're in. If it's day or night, who cares? Just have a good rest of whatever part of the day it is for you. I can speak. Peace out, y'all.